Well, welcome back to my old ranch. It's been a little while. I apologize. Unfortunately, Bob disappeared about just a little over a month ago. And of course, he was my working dog, my dog I depended on, my buddy, my pal, my best friend, all that happy stuff. Anyways, it's been difficult because since Bob is not here, everything around the ranch is not the same. Not only do I have coyotes and foxes and raccoons, which I have video in the chicken coop. They've taken out at least 10 of my chickens. And so it's just been not fun. Let's just put it that way. But I got to keep going. One of the things I've done is I'm working on my electric fence because without Bob, the cows, sheep, everybody is much more difficult to deal with. So I've got to fix it. Unfortunately, once I fixed the wire, and I've got about a mile and a half of it, my controller or my charger decided it didn't want to work. So I ordered another one, and I've installed it. Unfortunately, the LEDs are so dim I can barely see them. But I got the new one in today. But I got my new electric fence controller in today, since the old one died. And this is what comes in it. A box, little sign. And we have the user manual Ranch Fence Energizer. Got the controller. We have power supply. We have alligator clips that plug into the output, along with the wires to connect it to a battery. So, let me take it out of this bag, show you this a bit more. All right, here's the controller. Negative goes to your ground wire or rod in the ground, and the positive. Then the knob on the bottom, that I had determined is the output power. So when you turn that knob, the output power that shows up here changes. The book doesn't say anything about it, and when I asked them, they didn't know anything about it either, which I thought was rather interesting. So we're going to hook this up and see if this one works. Now I also, along with this controller, got the battery. I've had this in the barn for a while and didn't have a battery in it. Well, I finally went and got a battery for it. And this thing, to my surprise, was like $270 something on Amazon. Been around for a while. I put the battery in it, and to my pleasant surprise, it does work. So, and I haven't even put it outside to let it charge up yet. Then you connect them down here. I'll use this here in another electric fence or a backup, or I'll change this out. I don't know, we'll see. Look at the old one first, kind of make an assessment of how I feel that it works, what it does, what it doesn't do, my frustrations. My old controller, let me grab it. I should say my old charger. It's this one here. Actually came with a ranch, so this is very old. I don't know how old, but there's a little meter on here, and that would tell me the condition of the battery and the charge. When the fence was shorted out, in other words, the cow made the electric wire go over the bob wire, which would short it out, this gauge right here, which I know you can't see, would go to 0, which would tell me that it's not shocking, it's not doing its job. Not only does this not fire up when I put the battery to it, but anyways, nothing works. So I'm gonna have to take this apart and fix it. I like this old thing, but I got a new one. And this is actually the replacement of the one I initially got. The one I initially got, the LED is very dim, so we'll see if this is any different. Maybe that's just the way it is. And I couldn't figure out, the book is very sparse on telling me how it works. So this is what I'm going to tell you that I know. I think I already pointed that out. But that knob down there is the output voltage. This is capable of doing, they say, 2 joules, which is a pretty good bite. But you can turn it down. I'm not sure exactly how much. The book doesn't say. When I did the question thing, it didn't come up and didn't tell me. So, but the bottom is where the V is, would tell me, the best I can tell, the input volts from the battery or solar or whatever you got connected to it. The out would be right there, what it's outputting, because when I turn this dial at the bottom down, this dropped, and then when I turn it back up, this raised. Now I just shot the video of the charger and it was not outputting anything, and the volts were way down. So okay, now this is my new one. Got it off of Amazon. Thankfully it showed up overnight. That was good for me. And you can see the output. It's got a little knob under here that you can turn. The book doesn't say anything about what this knob is. Let me show it to you. And what I figured out is you can turn down the intensity of the shock, is what it appears to be. So, and of course it wires up one wire for the negative, and they say to use a rod that goes into the ground. I find this works just fine. That way I can move it around, and I just tie it onto the wire, which is of course connected to the posts all over the place, so there's no reason why it wouldn't be grounded. And then I have the positive lead. I have a spring here to try to keep things tight, and then the wire that goes around. And I've got about 1.5 miles of wire on this particular run. So, and then this right here plugged into the bottom, hooks up to the battery, which then gives it power. So let's hook it up and let's see what it does. Take my negative and then my positive. Alright, we see here, hopefully you can see that in the sunlight. One of the things I really don't like about it is the LED is not bright at all, and I think I'm probably going to try to return it and get another one for that, because I can barely see it even with the hands covered. But it says I've got 12.3 volts in the battery. There's my little, if you can see it, probably not. There's a little LED bars right here, and it says that my output is 12.1. If I turn this down, be careful not to get too close to the positive. Now, again, you probably can't see it. Now it says it's 7.06 is the large readout right there. I turn this back up. Now it says 12.3. And I had that wrong. This bottom one must be the voltage from the battery. But then this is the output. That makes sense. There's in and there's out. So I'm going to take my tester and let's see what this thing says. Well, I'm going to try first, before I do anything, I'm going to put a fresh battery on it so that I know the full voltage is there. And let's just see what it says. All right, now, ow, shoo, okay. Now it's telling me 12.9 volts, output 12.9, and obviously I guess the fence isn't shorted out. So the cows have actually figured out that the electric fence zapped them pretty good. Just like you saw there, it zapped me. Now it's interesting. Let's try something. My other controller, as I showed you, would tell me whether the fence wasn't working or not. This one, it doesn't tell me, at least I don't think it does. My neighbor let me borrow this, which is supposed to be the tester for the electric fence. So let's just see what it does here. All right. Well, it's actually shocking me through the wire, so it's pretty powerful. Let me back off a little bit with the electrode that I put on there. Let's see if this thing will read anything. This thing's not lighting up at all. If I put it on my ground, this tester must be bad. I can feel a little shock right through here. The lights kind of briefly flash, but it doesn't tell me anything about what it's outputting. My new tester isn't here yet, which is bums me, but I know this thing's working, and that means the fence must not be shorted out. I'm going to go ahead and change this charger out because I want to see if that fixes the LED. If it does, then I need to send the replacement back. And so we'll just see what happens here. Here's the controller. I'm going to disconnect the battery. I certainly don't want to be zapped again if I don't have to be. And I've got to disconnect both the positive and the negative that goes to the fence. Disconnect the wire that goes to the battery. Pull this off. There's the new one they sent me. Put this on. Put the positive wire back on. Gotta find the hole. All right, now let's hook up the negative. Tighten that down. Plug this into the back end of the bottom for our power. Now we'll hook up the battery again. All right, I guess I complained for no reason at all because the LED output is still not very bright. And when I turn the knob down, it comes down to 7. Much more variable than the other one. 6.32 kVs out is what I assume. I want it maximum, so I'm going to turn it back up. Now it jumps up to 12.3 out, and then it says kV, so I assume that's what it is. My input voltage is 12.8. So I got a new controller for nothing. Well, I don't know how else to test it because I don't have a good tester. So there's only one way I know to do it. Now I'm not really grounded. If I was wet, if the ground was wet, this would be way more intense. So let's just see. I'm going to grab the wire. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's live. So it must not be shorted out the 1.5 miles of wire that I have. So it's good. So what I've learned, this controller, I got it off of Amazon. Good. Powerful. Warn you, the LED is not very bright, but I guess that's just the way it is. A little adjustment on the bottom. $45 on Amazon. I can say, I don't know how long it'll last, but I can say this is a good controller, especially for the money. Remember the other one that I showed you was a solar, and that one was $270 some. So that for $45, as long as it holds out and doesn't trash out on me, then it's good. It's a good deal. So thanks for watching me on my old ranch. I will get my act together. Missing Bob been really hard for me, and having animals die and missing because Bob's not here is much more difficult. Plus, with the sheep get out, the cows get out, that also makes everything more difficult. But life goes on. Got to keep going. So please watch, subscribe if you like my channel and what I'm doing, and I'll show you next this truck that I've been working on. It's actually coming along pretty good. I've taken a lot of video, but I just haven't been able to put them together. So stick with me and see what I'm doing on my old ranch.